Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, find out about a new effort to improve vision screening for Arizona children. And best-selling author James Rollins will talk about his new book, The Bone Labyrinth. The story's next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals today rejected a lawsuit against Arizona's ban on race and gender-based abortions. The court said that the two civil rights groups that brought the case lacked standing to sue. The NAACP and the National Asian Pacific American Women's Forum argued that the law is unconstitutional because it targets Black and Asian women. But judges on the Ninth Circuit ruled that the two groups suffered no personal injury and were not denied equal treatment. The ruling upholds a lower court ruling that dismissed the case. And a new poll shows that close to 3 out of 4 likely Arizona voters think that investing in public schools and increasing teacher pay were top priorities when spending the state's budget surplus. The poll was conducted by the nonpartisan communications firm Strategies 360. Other results from the survey showed support for giving law enforcement the tools it needs to improve public safety, improving border security, spending more money on foster kids, using the budget surplus on tax cuts, and using the surplus on funding the state's universities. The Virginia G. Piper Charitable Trust has a new children's vision screening director who will coordinate a statewide initiative to improve the eyesight of Arizona kids. Joining us now is the new director, Karen Woodhouse, and we also welcome Piper President and CEO, Susan Pepin. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Directing children's vision screening, what's going on here? What are you going to do?
Well, first of all, we can talk a little bit about why we're going to do it. And there's a couple of reasons Sue and I can talk about. One is that we essentially have what we're calling a literacy crisis here in Arizona, and that is 42% of our kids, only 42% of our kids are reading at proficient level, according to the most recent AZ Merit scores that came out about a week and a half ago. So we know that vision is such a critical piece of helping kids learn how to read, acquire the reading skills, and then being successful readers. We also know that good vision is part of overall, it's good healthy development for young kids. As early as when kids are born, they're using their vision to attach to their primary caregivers, their parents, or anybody else in their family. We also know that that's how they develop emotionally and socially with their peers, so that they're able to see out in their world. They learn by experiences. So good vision is really part of an overall healthy child development and health. And so those are two key reasons why we want to get in this realm.
Indeed, and to have a new vision screening director and a new push and a new effort suggests that the previous efforts may not have been up to snuff. What kind of vision screening goes on now?
That's a great question. Arizona is one of 8 states, only 8 states, that where vision screening isn't mandated, even though hearing screening is. And so it is happening. There's a lot of wonderful effort in the state, but it's not coordinated, and lots of piecemeal things are going on. And so Piper has, for a long time, been invested in the success of early childhood development, because our education needs don't just start with K-12, they really start at a very young age. So Piper's invested with many, many wonderful partners in Read On Arizona. And so as we get that early literacy effort off the ground and it's really running well, we're able now to start thinking about those health determinants around early literacy. And well, if you can't see, reading is quite a challenge until it's identified and addressed or special needs are taken care of. And children don't tell you. They don't complain. So vision screening, it's a hands down slam dunk that it's really important for childhood development. And so we want to help facilitate the collaborations needed to make a statewide effort, and hence our new vision screening director.
And those collaborations now, who are you going to work with? How are you going to work with them?
We're going to work with medical providers, health professionals, because that's where a lot of screening happens for kids birth through age 5. And then we want to work with people in the community that are already doing screening efforts, but just talk to them about what the standards are and how they're using the information from the screening to help kids get referred to an eye professional if it's necessary. We're also going to work with schools, because that's a great place for kids kindergarten through grade 3, which is a time that we want to do a lot more screening. That's where kids are, so that's a great opportunity for us to reach a lot of kids.
You had mentioned how vision is important. I mean, to be able to read someone's emotions, to understand and see their exact react. It's not just reading the chalkboard, but there's also, I mean, computers are so prevalent right now. Is that impacting kids' vision? I mean, what's going on there?
Well, there are some studies, and I can't say that I'm expert in what that data is looking like, but I've heard anecdotally, and certainly there's some very rigorous studies that have shown that kids who are spending so much of their day, rather than outside playing, they're spending a lot of their day screen time. And so whether it's computer or gaming, whatever it is. And so we know that that is definitely impacting probably their eye development, and I would think that it's something that would impact potentially vision. And Sue, as the expert in the MD with expertise in this area, you may have some other information that can help us identify the impacts.
Please.
Certainly there are impacts to how we are using our eyes. I think the critical point about vision screening is that about 1 in 5 children have a vision problem. And again, that they may not complain about, because if it's from birth or they develop a refractive error, the need for glasses. So it's just the world is blurry to them. And the really critical thing is that if we intercede early, before they reach 10 and older, we have an opportunity to impact their life forever. Because if we don't intercede, sometimes that we can't correct it later on. So it's pretty critical that we do that. And our programs in the state really need to have that screening done, and not just one time, because kids aren't that easy to check their vision. And also changes occur. So vision screening has to happen more than once, and we need the data infrastructure in place so children can be followed and follow-up can happen. Not just getting a screening, and a lot of screening happens right now, but they need either to see an eye professional or to get glasses or to have more serious medical interventions depending on what the problem is.
And it sounds like you're looking to kind of try to equalize opportunities for these kids before they even get to, I mean, either before they get to school or certainly in those early grades.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is so important in terms of opportunities that children have. Our 750,000 children all deserve vision screening so that they have an equal opportunity to thrive in school and really put their best foot forward as they move forward.
Now, you've worked with the Department of Education previously.
I have in the past, yes.
Yes, and first things first as well. So you've been in the arena here to a certain degree. What are your plans? How are you going to get this done?
Well, right now we're talking to a lot of folks that are already engaged in this effort. As Sue mentioned, there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's not coordinated. And what we don't know what we don't know. We don't know how many kids are getting screened. We don't know how many kids aren't being screened. We don't know what's happening once they get screened, and there's an issue that's found. We're not sure how many kids are actually being referred, so that if we're screening them, that's great, but if we're not doing the follow-up, it's for naught. So that's what we're trying to get a handle on and a picture of, and then using that information to help identify where are the gaps, where do we need to scale up. We also know that there's some national and local standards and best practices related to screening, and we want to make sure that anybody that's doing screening is actually using those best practices, so we get the very best screening possible, we're not wasting efforts, and then we're getting kids referred when they need to.
And the efforts are consistent across the board, so you don't have X, Y, and Z techniques being used in 3 different schools.
Well, there are many ways to screen well, but we do want to look at that coordination and at least the best practices.
So, last question, timeline. When does this all get started? When does it hit the road? What are we looking at here?
We are thrilled to have Karen join us now, and she has the wonderful background to really coordinate these efforts. Again, there's already a lot going on and a lot of interested parties in the state, so she is just headed out of the gate and running, and we look forward to planning in the next few months, but over the next year and a half, we plan on really making an impact.
Making an impact even by the time kids get back to school after the winter break?
I would say that we're still in our planning phase by then, but I'd say in the next year, we're going to have a lot more on the ground and a lot more impact.
All right, well, good luck to you. Thank you both for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Expand your horizon with the Arizona Horizon website. To get there, go to azpbs.org. Click on the Arizona Horizon tab at the top of the screen. Once there, you can access many features to help you make a more informed viewer. Watch interviews by clicking on the video button, or scroll down to the bottom of the page for the most recent segments. You can also find out what's on Arizona Horizon for the coming week. If you would like an RSS feed, a podcast, or want to buy a video, that's all on the website too. Want to learn about specific topics like immigration or the legislature? You can visit our special web sections. There's also a page for educators. Show your support for Arizona Horizon at azpbs.org/Arizona Horizon.
Best-selling author James Rollins has just released a new action-adventure novel that also explores a variety of scientific issues, including the origins of human intelligence. The book is titled The Bone Labyrinth, and it combines everything from espionage to anthropology. We welcome James Rollins to Arizona Horizon. Good to have you here.
Thanks, Ted. Appreciate it.
So much to talk about here, but let's start with the fact that this is a Sigma Force novel.
Yes.
And for those who aren't familiar with Sigma Force, what is that?
Sigma Force is a covert group of operatives. They're former Special Forces soldiers that have been taken by DARPA, the Defense Department's Research and Development Wing. They've been retrained in various scientific disciplines to basically become field operatives. I describe them, they're scientists with guns. They're set out there to protect against various types of scientific threats and other non-scientific threats.
So you went Sigma, and you've written numerous other, was it 11, 12?
This is the 11th book.
Okay.
Not that you have to read them in order. I think most of my readers have not read my books in order. I've sort of structured them so they can be read in any order.
So with that in mind, though, why, considering the topics here, because again, we're going to get to this, it's so much in the way of history and religion and myth even, and then science as well. Why not a standalone novel? Why get the Sigma Force guys involved?
Well, all my early novels were standalone. And I was actually resistant to doing a series initially because what I call the Jessica Fletcher syndrome from Murder, She Wrote. You know, just there's this old woman that always finding dead bodies. I've never stumbled over a dead body. She was always doing that. I thought the final revelation should have been at the very last episode of Murder, She Wrote was that she was a serial killer and she was framing everybody. But I got this idea for a group, basing a series on a group because with a group I can actually, knock off major characters. The threat can come from many different directions because they can always recruit somebody else.
I guess that's true,
So
huh?
I like that.
And James Bond either exists or he doesn't, right?
Exactly.
Let's get to the plot here.
Sure.
Human intelligence, the roots of human intelligence, it's a major player in this book, isn't it?
It is. That was the seat that the story came from. There's a big anthropological mystery. Back 50,000 years ago, there was a sudden upsurge in art, ingenuity, weapon development, the production of grave goods. But our brains really had been the same for about 200,000 years. So the question is, why 50,000 years was there a sudden spike in all this activity? And anthropologists don't know. We have no answer for that. But of course, I'm always looking for that historical mystery, that piece of history that ends in a question mark, and, and I have an answer.
I was going to say, you've got some answers in here regarding that. But you need, and at the end of the book, you kind of write, here's what's real, here's what I kind of made up, here's where you can go to get further information on the real part. With that in mind, what kind of research did you, for all of your novels, what kind of research do you have to do?
A lot. And I enjoy it, probably too much. And that what's true, what's not section at the end of the novel is actually a lot of people's favorite parts of the books because I sort of pull apart the curtains and say, this is what's real and this is what's not. But for this book, I travel to China. I love to travel. I generally don't travel for research per se. I don't say I'm going to set a story in France, fly over to Paris, run around Paris, come back and write about it. I just generally travel for the fun of it. I'm notorious for walking up to a local and asking them, tell me something that nobody knows about this place. Tell me a secret of this town that nobody knows. And I did that. I was in 3 weeks in China, a week in Beijing, a week in Shanghai, and a week in Hong Kong. And I approached a gentleman in Beijing and I said, tell me something about your town that nobody knows about. He goes, oh, well, let me tell you. Beneath Beijing, there's an entire underground city. During the Cold War, we built this entire infrastructure underneath our city so that our entire population can recede underground if the Soviets ever attacked. And it still exists. As a matter of fact, during the Tiananmen Square crackdown, that's the way the Chinese government moved their tanks into position, was through that underground city that still exists there.
Isn't that interesting? And you would not have known that?
Not unless I asked that question.
But I know as well, this whole idea of genetic modification and they're discovering bones on almost a daily basis, it seems. How do you do the research and write the novel? I think at the end of the book you kind of mentioned you had to tweak the storyline a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, it was changing so rapidly. When I first began the novel, we knew that about 2 to 4% of the human genome most likely came from Neanderthals. And while starting the novel, I found out, no, there's actually another hominin species that was also contributing to our genome. And then as I was finishing the novel, I found out there's actually even a third species. So our past is not set in stone. We're learning very rapidly that there was much more going on back 50,000 years ago than anybody suspected.
Do you ever have readers say, you know, that part that you wrote on page 16 about some sort of scientific issue, you got that wrong?
Oh, well, yes, they always double check me, which I like. I like that. I'm very active on Facebook and Twitter and emails, and I love people challenging and opening that discussion and talking about those aspects of the story.
I ask that because Ian Fleming, there's a new biography of Ian Fleming, and he says that he would have people writing him all the time saying, you know, that caliber of gun could not do that, and this could, and he wound up having correspondence with them because he wanted to get it right.
Exactly. So do I. I mean, that's one of the great resources that we have today is social media, in that I have access to experts in almost any field, and they are more than willing to help, which I'm surprised.
Well, and you touch on the moon, on Chinese espionage, on Atlantis, all sorts of. Do you ever hit a point where you're going, I got a little too much science here, I got a little too much information going here?
Well, I'm always trying to balance that between that historical mystery, that piece of history that ends in the question mark, and that bit of science, that cutting edge from the headlines type of story I want to explore. But I'm not so much interested in the cogs and the wheels of the technology. I don't try to get so much in depth so I lose my reader. What interests me, and hopefully interests the reader, is not so much the cogs and the wheels of the technology as how that affects us. And how does that challenge us morally or spiritually? How might that change the path of human civilization? That's what I'd like to explore in the novels.
And again, I think we kind of glossed over this at first, but the plot of the novel, without giving too much of it away,
It starts out with two sisters, twins. They're both geneticists. They're attacked on 2 different continents. One sister is assaulted at a research dig in Croatia, where she discovered a medieval church buried underground that holds the bones of a Neanderthal woman. Her sister is abducted out of a primate research center in Atlanta, where she, along with her research animal, a sign language speaking gorilla who happens to have an unusual genetic history himself. And Sigma Force is called in to find out, why are they pursuing these women, where they've been taken, and what's the plot. And they basically expose a plot by the Chinese government, which is actually true, where they're beginning to engineer human embryos. Even when I was writing this novel, I thought it was fictitious, but there was a big article that came out, a big brouhaha, that there was a group of Chinese scientists that were experimenting with changing the genetics of a human embryo, basically altering the human genome to the point where it's inheritable.
Yes.
Which is scary stuff.
Indeed, and this young gorilla that's a major factor in this novel, named Bako, was it tough to go into the character of a gorilla?
My past before becoming a writer was a veterinarian. I still do some volunteer work with my veterinary degree. So I love populating my books with animals, and especially I like to be able to write scenes from the point of view of those animals. In this book I got to write scenes from the perspective of this unusual research animal, this 3-year-old mountain gorilla. So it's a great deal of fun. I like to take my readers and put them in the paws of those creatures and to sort of experience what it's like to be, not to do a Disney version of them, where they're going to song and dance. I want them to try to sort of experience what it really is like to be that creature.
But to me it would seem you got to be careful, because the minute I read about Bako, and I don't want anything bad to happen to Bako.
They always say never kill a dog.
No,
that's
you can't kill the dog.
Exactly.
No. So Bako, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I want to ask what happens to Bako, because I'm
say
still reading the book.
One of the reviewers said, just bring Kleenex.
No, geez, all right. Your books have been translated to 40 languages.
Correct.
You're a best-selling author. You write so many, you write a lot of these books and people love them. I've read reviews of people saying, they act like it's the real. What's the connect? Why do you think you're so successful? What are you doing out there?
My goal when I write a story is to simply entertain. It's just to build a roller coaster ride, take my readers on that roller coaster ride. But I think for a story to have a lot of impact, to have resonance with your readers, is that when they turn that last page to close the cover, that you're left them with something to think about. And that's why I do have that section at the back of the book, besides sort of to expose everything, but also to, if you have any interest in that science or that history, I'm going to leave you some breadcrumbs at the end so that if you're interested, you can follow. And a lot of people do. And I think that's one of the appeals of the whole novel.
When you're writing, Are you writing for someone in particular, whether it's a real person or some imaginary? Is there someone on your shoulder that you're writing for? Are you writing for the mirror? Who are you writing for?
I'm writing for myself. Yeah, I firmly believe that a writer should be writing from a point of passion. They should be writing stuff that they want to read. I laugh, I cry when I'm writing these scenes, which I won't tell you what happens at Baco. So, but there's
giving it away a little bit
it's
there,
just like a
but-
little movie going in my head,
Yeah.
and I'm the director. And I said the best thing about writing is I have no budget.
That's,
You know,
true.
I can do the wildest stunts. I can blow up the biggest things because all it requires is my imagination.
As far as I love asking writers about how they write.
Sure.
This is such a complicated novel. There's so many people doing so many different things, and there's even a gorilla doing different things. I mean, do you plot this? Do you outline this? Do you know what's going to happen, and do you follow the outline?
I have to do some. I mean, I definitely know. I know the first line and the last line oftentimes before I begin writing the book, and I know a few tent poles in between, but I don't necessarily know how A connects to B connects to C. Because to me, the joy of the writer, as a writer, is to discover that path. And if I knew it to a T, I think I'd get a little bored with it. To be honest with you, to me, the most exciting days when I've got a blank screen in front of me and I don't know what's going to happen, or I've painted my characters into a corner, I don't know how to get them out. That's the fun days to write.
But with that in mind, though, do you occasionally break the outline? Do you just kind of go in one direction? Think you're going to go in this direction, and all of a sudden?
Sometimes your characters will take you a different direction that you were not expecting, and that's a good thing too. Eventually, I do need to make sure that train doesn't get too far off the tracks because there's an end spot I want to hit.
So, a veterinarian all of a sudden can't stop writing. I mean, and can't stop writing successfully. How does that happen?
Well, I've always been I was raised with 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and I was a storyteller of the family. My goal was to terrorize my younger brothers and sisters. If tears were involved, all the better. And so there's a part of me that loves telling stories, but I also read a lot growing up. It's like activating that little twisted corner of my brain that loves to spin stories. But I also loved animals, loved medicine, loved science. I got that assignment you get from 3rd grade, what do you want to be when you grow up? I knew I wanted to be a veterinarian, just didn't know how to spell it. So I did the one thing all 3rd graders hate to do. I actually got a dictionary and looked it up. I was that determined. But my clients became suspicious that something was up. You know, get your cat spayed, get a free book. You know, so the questions began to arise. You know, Dr. Jim, you've had a successful veterinary hospital. Now you're doing this writing business. You know, what's your long-term goal? I said, well, for 15 years, you know, veterinary medicine was my paycheck and writing was a hobby, and I thought it would be really cool to flip that on its ear and have writing be my paycheck and veterinary medicine be my hobby. That's pretty much where I'm at right now.
With writing as your paycheck, though, does it ever become a slog? Do you ever sit down and go, "Oh my goodness"?
No, it's
it never.
so much
so
fun.
you really?
I mean, I can't say that writing is hard. Some days writing feels like gold flowing out of your fingertips. Other days it feels like you're pulling your teeth out of your skull. So there's painful days, but it's still so much fun to do.
Do you just sit right down in front of, I guess, the computer or the notepad or whatever and write, or do you wait for the muse or wait for free time? What do you do? How do you work it?
I have to write 5 double-spaced pages every single day, and come hell or high water, it gets done.
Isn't that do you start the day with that or end the day with
I
that?
usually start, and then a lot of times, you know, I might not get everything done at once. I might get distracted by Facebook, or probably too much by Facebook, and then I'll get back to it later on. But before I go to bed that night, I've got to have that 5th page written.
And if you don't, it's probably a rough sleep, isn't it?
It is, otherwise I got to make it up the next day and do 6 pages or 7 pages the next day.
It's like almost exercise. People that run or work out or something like that, you just have to keep.
I think for a writer you need to have that regimen.
Yeah, you have to keep. Something I asked earlier regarding being a Signiforce novel as opposed to a standalone novel. Are you thinking of veering more toward, like what you did earlier, standalone novels? Maybe something not so action-adventure-ish, but...
I do like to, I also I write 2 books a year roughly, and there's always a Sigma book a year, and there's the other book.
Okay.
And the other book sometimes is a standalone, sometimes it's a different project. I did a middle school series featuring a young boy archaeologist. I've worked with some other authors on co-authored projects just for the fun of working with another author. So I like to use the other part of the year for a different project to keep me fresh.
These Signiforce novels especially, I mean, there's so much action, there's stuff going on constantly. How come we're not seeing any movies made of these books? Or are we seeing movies made of these books?
Almost everything's been optioned, and I'm not officially allowed on air to say anything, but so you can assume what I'm saying from there. But
Okay.
there'll be a formal announcement shortly.
I was going to say, because it would certainly make sense to the casual reader and casual viewer that something like this would make a pretty good film. You probably don't argue too much with that
I
idea.
would not argue about that at all.
All right. Well, congratulations on this book. You're probably in the middle of writing, what, another one so far?
Oh yeah, one's already in the bag, and I'm working on the one that's
My
after that one.
goodness, great. Well, continued success, and thank you so much for joining us. And we should mention real quickly, you're at Poison Pen tonight?
7 o'clock tonight. Yeah.
7 o'clock tonight at Poison Pen in Scottsdale.
Correct.
James Rollins, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Wednesday on Arizona Horizon, hear from an ASU researcher who attended the Paris climate change talks, and we'll check out a stunning installation by artist Bruce Monroe. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.